So, hello everyone. My name is Viktor Stiskala. I'm a CTO at fintech startup Twisto, and I also sometimes speak at conferences. And today I have seen many great talks, but sometimes with poorly readable code or without syntax highlighting at all. So I just wanted to show you something. First of all, please don't use screenshots of the source code. It may look great on your screen, but if it's displayed on a different resolution, it doesn't look that great. And many of you are probably Python developers, right? So why don't we use Python for that? And this is a short demonstration of pygments and how can you highlight the source code in your presentation. So I will just copy the code, open some editor and save it to a file. After that, I will call a short script it's called pygmentize. I'll show the commands later. And with this command, it's copied into the clipboard, and I can directly insert it into presentation if I'm on Mac. This is one of the examples. And yes, that's it. And the code is inserted into the presentation. And if you're on Linux, you can use pygments to export the source code the same way, but into the SVG file. And yes, this is the same story. You will just insert the code. Then a single command. Export it into a SVG file and then import it into LibreOffice or OpenOffice or whatever you use on, on your Linux. So yes, that's it. The huge benefit of it is, of course, it's in vector, so it can scale easily, and the result could look something like that. And yes, that's only one line of code which you have to use. The first example is for Mac. You can use pbcopy to just copy the output into the clipboard, and the later example is into the SVG file. And the pygments also supports Python console highlighting. So in the next example, you can see how it looks like in interactive mode console. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, Christopher Lozinski here. Sorry, how does this work? There we go. I run pythonlinks.info. It's the world's largest Python directory. If you do a search for Python, you get snakes and Monty Python and all kinds of other stuff. It's actually 190 million items. It's a flat list. It's just too many to go through. Sure, you can add additional keywords, but a much better approach is to organize information as a hierarchy of catalogs and ontology. Librarians have been doing this for centuries. If you know Yahoo Directory or DMOZ, they did the same thing. Python Links does this. It has different content types, categories, links, YouTube videos. There are a bunch of other content types I'll mention in a minute. It looks like it's just a 4-level tree, but actually different branches go down different depths. Some branches go down as much as 8 levels, 7 items in each level. 7 to the 8th is about 500,000 items. So let's take a look at one leaf of the tree. This is for ZODB. ZODB is a wonderful object-oriented database written in Python, just subclass off of persistent, and your application becomes persistent. It's amazing more people don't know about it. Brilliant software, check it out. Here on the tree, where are we? Python links, Python software, Python libraries, database libraries, persistent Python, ZODB, ZODB introductory video. So very easy to find stuff, easy to organize, but nobody cared about all of this because it doesn't hit them in the pocketbook. So I went and I did one for iOS and I did one for Poland Trade. And the discovery is if you do something that's related to business, people really care. So I built another set of content types. The world, Europe, cities, countries, England, cities, London, company, Monzo, and within that you can find their jobs, links to their blogs, review articles. Glassdoor often reviews what it's like to be a company, to work at a company, and everybody likes this. So here's a table of the companies. Actually, this is FinTech in Poland with the cities. On the left-hand side, you have the company name, a link to the company. On the right-hand side, what it specializes, and all kinds of additional information in there. Somebody asked me today, can I supply this as a JSON feed? Well, it's a tree. So I can supply the JSON feed of companies in Prague or Brno, or I can do one for all of Czech. And then it's very easy for all the user groups to just add this information. The lines that are green are the companies that have jobs, so you'll see those on any job board. But if you're coming to a city, you want to know all the companies and what they're doing, and if it's interesting. Even if they're not hiring, you want to see that information. So it's particularly good for beginners, these content directories, because if you're a beginner, you don't even know the names of the libraries to search for, and you don't have any idea what the local companies are. But it's good for everybody. It's very fast, so probably a bunch of people, it's run on Python servers, JavaScript clients, on scalable Linode servers, behind Nginx. Did it stay up during this presentation? Yes, no? Is it up? Nobody's using it? Pardon? No, it's my website, because often people will browse when I'm talking, so. Oh, well, that's not my fault. My servers are up. And I did one for Poland, so if you're interested in moving to Poland or something, as I know a lot about trade with Poland. I invite you to, if you go to the website and you click on Contact, if you follow me on Twitter, then I will link to your company. I'm also going around, if you invite me to come to your user group, I'd be very happy to travel anywhere in the anywhere in Europe. Thank you very much. And there's no chicken, so I'll take the, I'll do one more slide here. There's so much noise on the web, right? And so what you have to do is you have to get good sources of data. And so what this is actually, it's not only a content management system, it's a content aggregation system. For example, in Czech, there's a database, there's a JSON file on GitHub of all the Czech companies. So I suck that in. So I suck in data from lots of places, and then what I do is I merge the tree. Is that the chicken? Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Maciej. How many of you know this address or have been to this address? Just a few? Okay, so this is the place where you actually issue or fill in every problems that you have with Python. CPython in majority, because that's where it's devoted to. But unfortunately, all the fame goes to CPython developers because they are so cool. They are core developers and working on CPython itself. And there is a bunch of, just a few people that are actually maintaining BugsPython.org itself. I'll present you the address of the bug tracker that we have for BugsPython.org at the end, but generally we'll talk about it a little bit more in a moment. Since we moved to GitHub, if you're interested in why we are not using GitHub for issues, catch me up afterwards or tomorrow, and I'll explain you in detail why we're sticking with BugsPython.org and Roundup. Oh, this is the other thing that I haven't mentioned yet, which is Roundup is the software that is behind BugsPython.org. So currently, during past 2 years, we did a lot of work around integrating BugsPython.org with GitHub. So currently, you can link easily issues on GitHub with comments and issue title and PR titles and PR reviews as well. So if you use BPO dash and the number of the BugsPython.org issue number, it will be automatically linked to the issue in the BugsPython.org. Yeah, there's a limit to 10 because we had some problems with flooding our BugsPython.org with some mistaken issues. Additionally, it also closes some issues, or depending on the comment in the comment message. Like I said, 2 years ago, we had a very smart Google Summer of Code student who helped us out to create a Docker image for running BugsPython.org. So currently it's so much easier to run BugsPython.org locally and actually work on it. So I totally encourage you to do so. This is the short version how actually you can run bugs.python.org. Unfortunately, the current version is a little bit longer. There are a few more steps required. You need to have roundup, Python dev, repos cloned locally. Unfortunately, you still need to build the Docker BPO image locally because we haven't published it under Python organization on Docker Hub, which is happening in the next couple days, I'm hoping for. And if you're using Linux, don't forget to add :z. So that's basically it. This is the address, the URL under which the actual bug tracker for the bug tracker is. So I totally encourage, if you're having problems with bugs.python.org but not Python, this is where you should fill in issues. If you have problems with Python, go to bugs.python.org. If you have problems with bugs.python.org itself, go to this address. I'll be very happy if somebody is interested in helping out with bugs.python.org. There's a lot of work to be done, a lot of issues. I personally hoping to work on OAuth integration because we are currently having some serious problems with, for example, Google Authentication. If my personal story was that I was helping somebody because he was complaining that he removed his Google OAuth integration, and he couldn't restore it, and I'm unfortunately in the same state because I removed mine and I can't restore it yet. So we need to work on that one. There's GitHub OAuth integration as well, and there's some plan to move to a new servers with bugs.python.org that will be actually managed by the PSF and not some external company. That's pretty much it. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm Adam Ejek, I'm a student, and some time ago I saw a lightning talk by Gary Bernard talking about the what's in JavaScript, and I thought if there's something similar in Python, so I did some research. I suggest you all know what is what. Yeah. So, so let's start with something simple like Boolean operators. Yeah. You all know true is true, false is not. False is not true. And option. Is it fine now? Yeah. Okay, so let's have this piece of code. In false, who knows what this is going to be? True or false? False. Of course, false. So if we modify it to this, what is this going to be? False again. Right. And who knows what is this going to be? Yeah, of course it's true. Yeah, what? So, yeah, screenshots during presentation. Yeah. So why does it happen? So, in and yeah, they are both comparison operators, but they have the similar priority. So the code is translated like false is false and false in false. So it's of course true. So another thing. Indexing. Okay? If you have a list of one item, you can index with numbers. Yeah? And if you try index with decimal numbers, it's of course error. Yeah? But if you have a Python dictionary, you can also index with you can also index with numbers. But if you try to index with decimal numbers, it suddenly works. What? You know, not the number types. Yeah? If you have not a number. And another, not a number. They are not equal. If you try to assign them in a list, but some nuns are not equal, but some are more unequal than the others. Yeah, so this is, for some reason, true. We don't have much time, so you all know what is a set, a list of unique items. Yeah, this is. Length of this is 3, and if you add more items that repeat, it's again 3. So if you have length of x, float x, I think we don't have time about it, forget about it.
What?
Forget about it. Python also has infinity. So what do you think this is going to be? Infinity minus infinity should be 0, should be 1, should be minus 1? Does anybody knows? Yeah, maybe this could help you. Upper. 15 plus. Still don't know? Yeah. Thank you.
I realize I'm the last one standing between you and beer, so my apologies. I recently estimated I wrote between 50,000 and 80,000 lines of code on Python in my life, and I'm going to show you the 20 ones I'm the most proud of. These. The question is, who in the room would be able to write that? I guess pretty much everyone. It's not really too complicated. If you think you could write that, raise your hand. I'm going to be disappointed. It's basically basic Python. What it does is I had to fit it into columns, but basically comparing two different strings and see how different they are, or more likely, looking for the ones that are the most matching. The reason I'm most proud of that is because I met a doctor. And she was a highly qualified doctor at the peak of her career. She was basically a lead scientist at the hospital. And her job was to take this. What's that? It's a DNA, more specifically a human DNA. And that's what its DNA is supposed to look like. That's a healthy patient, a section of DNA for a healthy patient. And she had a very expensive machine. And the machine was basically taking a new human DNA and producing something like that. The problem was that the patient wasn't always healthy, and some parts of the DNA, one single letter was flipped, and the machine would produce something like that. The problem is it doesn't really start at the same exact offset. So it could start, 5 letters missing, 50 letters missing, 500 letters missing. Who can tell me what's the difference? Which letters are flipped between this and that? I'll keep flipping over until somebody says, I know it. Come on, doctor can do it, you're programmers.
Is it a C?
Might be. Yeah, obviously humans are not supposed to do that. And she spent something like 4 hours a week doing exactly this. Printing one, printing the other, and looking for differences. It's a huge waste of time. Unfortunately, that's basically how sometimes Czech hospitals work. There's no IT staff, and doctors do these stupid tasks. So I wrote a code. I wrote exactly those 20 lines, something around those kind of printing stuff, but it basically gives her that. That's the result. What I'm saying in this story is that really the code isn't great. It's pretty stupid, to be honest, but it works. And it can produce the result in like 0.2 seconds, maybe less. And it saves her about 4 hours a week. What I'm trying to say is you don't have to write perfect code. It doesn't have to be super awesome. It doesn't even have to be commented sometimes. You can be a student and learn Python, and you probably can write something that's gonna save somebody a lot of time. So if you can, do it, please. That's it. Beer.
Hello.
Take it away.
So I'm gonna first start talking about. Can you hear me? Okay, yeah. Cool. I'm gonna start talking about the Google Summer of Code program. Are there any students in the crowd? Students, hands up. Whew, awesome. Cool. So what exactly is it? Well, students contribute to open source projects which are selected by Google. This has been happening since 2005, I think. I could be wrong, but yeah, for a while now. And you basically, like the name suggests, Google Summer of Code, you spend your summer coding for an open source organization chosen by Google. Now, why this is relevant to all the students in the crowd? Well, you learn a lot. It's a lot of fun. You usually work with really big organizations, like Mozilla is one of them. And, well, of course, you contribute open source, which I think is the most important part of coding in Python. And there's a lot of data science and Python-related projects. PSF, which is the Python Software Foundation, is actually a part of the Google Summer of Code program. So if any of you guys already, or girls, if you already contribute to open source Python organizations, you should check if they ever took part with Google Summer of Code. And you get money, and since students are poor, then it's always good for us. And for mentors, why it's useful? Because you expand your project community. You sort of get students to want to start contributing to your communities. You get people to start with open source. I think it's really important for everyone to give back to the community, especially given how much it's done for us. And for students to start, it's awesome because you start early. You also improve the quality of your package because you have conversations between students and between mentors. And you're going to help a poor student if you're a mentor. So you're going to make people happy. More details. Sadly, the deadline for 2017 is over because summer's already started, which you can see the lovely weather. But please apply next year, either as a student or a mentoring organization. If any of you, have a GitHub repo with Python code in it, just submit it to Google. And a shameless plugin for anyone hiring data scientists. I'm a 2-time Google Summer of Code student, so hire me. That's the end of the first talk. So check it out, Google Summer of Code. Really cool program, lots of money, lots of learning, lots of open source, and lots of Python. The second mini lightning talk I'll be doing is about a package called PyCobra. What is it? I'm assuming a lot of people that have done some machine learning or data science stuff out here, a fair amount of people. For those people, PyCobra is a Python package for regression analysis. It compares different machines or regression machines, which are like basic machine learning algorithms, and it combines them. You can visualize the result of your different machines that you're using, so you can actually see how each of your machines stack up and how well they perform compared to each other. Why you should use it, I wrote it. It'd be cool if you guys could. Also, it's a cool way for beginners to get used to regression. I think if you're just starting off with machine learning and open source in general, and you want to see what it's all about, check out PyCobra. And it's built on scikit-learn. So scikit-learn is the most, I think, important machine learning package out there. So if you already started using scikit-learn, then it's built on top of it. It's very similar. It's the syntax, the API is really close to it. And it has a bunch of notebooks and tests, lots of examples, and I think it's okay. More details, it would be really cool if you could star, fork, or whatever. It's Bhargav Vader is my GitHub repository, and PyCobra is the name. And the algorithm which is used to visualize and to aggregate these machines is from this research paper, which is called Cobra, a Combined Regression Strategy. Also, PyCobra has 2 snakes in it, which I thought was pretty cool, PyCobra. And, well, that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
So let's talk about GIS very fast. Like every year, the same presentation. My name is Joachim, and I do GIS and Python. Usually, well, at the beginning, I was a forester, but it doesn't matter anymore. Let's talk about GIS and Python, of course, and the open source software. What is GIS about? It's about maps, it's geographical information systems. So basically, we are dealing with data which are located somewhere on the Earth, usually on the Earth or on the Mars or whatever. But we know definitely where they are, because it matters where we are right now, where the stuff is happening, where the phenomena are happening. What is GIS about? It's about image processing or raster data processing. It's about databases. It's about vector data manipulation, cartography, 3D graphics, and more. GIS are running on servers, and there is a software for it, on desktops, of course. And of course, in the web browsers, everybody's using Google Maps, right? Not only them. But usually, we are not speaking about Python in terms of web browser. Luckily. The most important starting point for you is the address geopython.github.io, I believe, where you can find most of the open source Pythonish GIS packages. Because Python loves GIS, and GIS, of course, loves Python. This is the most geo-positive programming language right now out there. There's lots of projects going, and there is lots of happenings. Yeah, you get a point. Together, all the tools are building a very solid plate. Come to my workshop on Saturday, and if you don't come, everything is documented either in Czech language or in English. And you can visit our GitHub because we are GIS mentors. Thanks. That's all.
Hey, so this applause, I believe that was for the speakers, for all of you. Thanks. Thanks for the day one. And I'm looking forward for day two as well. You did an awesome job. It was great. Thank you very much. If you are a speaker, if I can ask you to gather outside right after we finish, right now, we can take a picture and then we can walk to a speaker's dinner. Because you deserve it, right? Do the speakers deserve some food? What do you think? So me, the guy with the sock, I can help you get to the place. If you are not a speaker, of course you want to have some fun. So we put one advice for you. It's super near. If you go to the link, and if I can click it. No, I cannot. I have no idea where the pointer is. Oh, there you go. Oh, you really would like to see the source code of this page. I just set it up. There's a nice bar. It's called Uperonu. It's near the train station. So it's like 3 tram stops away from here. Go there. You will have a lot of fun. And after the speaker dinner, maybe we will be able to meet somewhere. There are some channels that we can get in touch. So see you. And if not tonight, see you tomorrow.
Can you
Thank
make
you.
the font bigger?